Hey Shakers, and welcome to Worth Your Salt, the podcast that shakes up your marketing game in the health and wellness industry. Worth Your Salt is brought to you by Salt Marketing. Salt Marketing helps health and wellness practitioners build trust and authority to attract a steady stream of inbound wellness seekers. For more information, you can visit us online at saltmarketing.co. I'm Jennifer Oraquah, Story Brand Certified Guide, Marketing Strategist with Salt Marketing, and your host for today's episode of Worth Your Salt. Now, in health and wellness, trust with clients is rarely built digitally. It's the personal interactions and the tangible results that help us connect and stand out. And yet, so much of our ability to bring in new business hinges on our websites, our social media presence, and our emails. But there is a way to bridge that gap. My guest today is Brent Nygaard, owner at Celebration Marketing, where they help businesses convert fleeting online interactions into lasting impressions with an innovative approach that blends digital intelligence with traditional charm. In addition to what you would usually think of when I say direct mail, Celebration Marketing specializes in retargeting your website visitors with personalized physical mailers. So if you're ready to increase customer engagement and drive tangible results, stay right here because Brent's wealth of knowledge and customer-focused mentality make him the perfect guide to help us navigate the intricacies of this innovative marketing approach. Brent, thank you so much for being here today on Worth Your Salt.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jennifer.
So Brent, you've got 3 decades of hands-on experience, and your dedication to helping businesses foster long-lasting client relationships is why we're here. But we often start with a bit of a backstory on Worth Your Salt. So can you share a little bit about your journey and how you got started with Celebration Marketing?
Sure. So my wife and I have been in business together for pretty much that whole 30 years. And we've done a few different things over that period of time, but we've always been involved in marketing and or direct mail in some way, shape, or form. We've always been business owners. We've never worked for anyone, so we're kind of unhireable, I suppose. But we wanted to kind of combine what we had learned from our marketing as a consumer and our direct mail background. And so we started off with, it was kind of like a shared envelope. The brand, it wasn't this brand, but the brand that people are familiar with in that world is Valpak. So you have multiple advertisers in an envelope that you send out to tens or hundreds of thousands of people in the area. A lot of local advertisers, a lot of restaurants, a lot of home improvement, a lot of home services, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And we did well with that for a while, but the frustrating aspect of it was it was very difficult to prove a return on investment. Some businesses were easier than others, but I found that owners' decision to continue with us or not kind of hinged on what their impression of what they were receiving was versus what they were actually receiving back in terms of ROI. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have a real mechanism to argue that point. So it was a lot of come and go, a lot of having to bring in new clients every month, and it just got really tedious. Mm-hmm. So we were introduced to Celebration Marketing, which at the time was just a much more targeted individual postcard direct mail approach. Mm-hmm. Celebration actually started out as a birthday card company. So we worked primarily with restaurants, and we could identify people that were celebrating a birthday in a given month within a certain geographic radius of the restaurant. Maybe they had a certain income, maybe they had a certain house value, certain demographics, all kinds of demographics that we could pull, target that audience. And that worked really well. We saw immediate responses in that world, and we were able to validate very easily what the customer was receiving and what revenue we were generating for them, and how that compared to their spend. So it was just a much more consistent consumer because it was just provable, and people liked the idea. Birthdays had a benefit, that went beyond, just the revenue that came in. I mean, there's a kind of a feel-good nature to that in the restaurant world, and consumers generally appreciate a restaurant that's going to send them a card in the mail that's personalized on their birthday with a gift certificate to come in and visit their restaurant. So that's kind of how we got started with Celebration. And then it's just kind of morphed into some bigger and better things since then.
Yeah. So what inspired the idea of marrying this old school direct mail, even personalized, a little more sophisticated, like you described, with really sophisticated digital marketing? How did that work out?
We know that a lot of our customers were getting a lot of traffic to their site. I mean, they were spending a lot of money marketing to drive traffic to their website. And once those folks visited, 99+% of the time, those individuals that visit their website were leaving without providing them any of that data. So you had spent that money to get them there. They got there. They researched you. Possibly they scheduled an appointment, but that's not the norm. But they leave that site with nothing in hand. And so we saw an opportunity to, number one, we already had the infrastructure for the direct mail in place. So all we had to do was tweak it a little bit. With most of our customers that are doing the retargeting, the quantities are, from day to day can be, 1, 10, 50. So we're not talking about long run stuff. So we had to tweak some things with that, but we were able to identify a percentage of those visitors to the website by, at minimum, name, address, often phone numbers, almost always email addresses. Sometimes even we can provide demographic information based on the tracking that we're able to do through their website. We immediately hit those people with an email after they've left the site. Then we mail twice a week to those individuals that visited the site.
So tell me a little bit about how this bridges the gap. So I'm fascinated by this idea of the online interaction and getting them to a true conversation. How does that happen?
Well, I mean, you're targeting an audience that's already demonstrated an interest, right? So what we're trying to do is push them over the edge to engage them in whatever your business model is, calling to schedule an appointment or a consultation, or coming in the door to actually purchase what you have to offer. So that's the engagement that we're looking for.
So I'd love to hear a few success stories where this tangible retargeting has really significantly impacted the number of people that your clients are able to connect with, get their feet in the door, get them to book an appointment, those sorts of things.
Probably one of our bigger clients with retargeting right now is a furniture chain, a small regional furniture chain. They have around 50 locations in North and South Carolina. And they were doing a lot of what we call EDDM, which is every door direct mail, where they're just targeting every mailbox in a geographic area. What we were doing, obviously, was identifying those people that visited their website. We were able to match 600 visitors per month by name, address, and then they incorporate that information into their database because they've got an ongoing direct mail campaign outside of us. So now instead of targeting, in some cases, prospects that are not ideal, they're targeting people that have already looked at their site, expressed an interest, and they're just reinforcing their brand by doing what we do. So what we've noticed with that program, and they've been enrolled for about a year, probably just shy of a year, of the 600 cards that we send out a month for them, we're seeing about a 20% response in actual purchases.
So what is there an incentive on the card? How does it work? How do they know, how does the business owner know it's working?
Sure. In some cases, it's difficult. With the furniture company that I just gave you the example of, sometimes they'll want to mirror what they're sending out in their circular. It's difficult to know in those situations whether they are coming in because of the card or they're coming in because of the circular. Now, we can go ahead and do a match program where they send me their customer database for a given month, and I can tell them of those customers, we were able to match, X percentage of them that actually came into the store. So we had a contributing factor. But oftentimes they're doing a unique offer on the card where the customer has to bring the card in to evaluate it. And then once they do that, they hold on to the cards. We've got the capability of scanning all the cards that come in, and it gives us all the addressed information, obviously, but it gives us all the demographic profile. So we can use that to identify who's already a customer now that they've used that. But we can also kind of tweak our demographics. So if we see underperforming demographics, we can tweak who we match in the targeting to a higher level of successful demographic.
Interesting. All right, Brent, I think we're all beginning to see the value in retargeting our website visitors with physical mailers. I have to take a quick sponsorship break, but when we come back, I want to talk about how physical mailers can increase customer engagement, improve retention rates, and bring in additional revenue.
The Worth Your Salt podcast is grateful to our partners and sponsors. We know you're here because you want to build and scale your wellness business by providing exceptional value. In order to do that, you've got to have a fully custom marketing plan that meets you where you are and brings clarity to your vision for the future. The problem is, the sheer number of things you have to pay attention to can feel overwhelming, which makes you feel like you might never achieve your goals. At Salt Marketing, we believe that creating trust and authority shouldn't be an ongoing struggle. As a Story Brand certified guide, Salt Marketing can help you gain clarity by applying the Story Brand framework to your growth strategy. Today, we'd love for you to get started with a marketing plan you can feel confident in. Head over to saltmarketing.co and take our 10-minute assessment. You'll get a free, customized marketing plan that will generate more revenue for your business. Visit us at saltmarketing.co to get your plan today.
I'm back here on the Worth Your Salt podcast with Brent Nygaard of Celebration Marketing. And Brent, some people, the idea of direct mail might seem a little old school. So what would you say to somebody who's like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm all in on the digital marketing side.
Well, listen, I mean, I think ideally they work hand in hand. I mean, obviously there's no getting away from digital in today's world. But what we find is, people that have built a brand, whether it be through TV, billboards, radio, a digital presence, our message works better with those folks than somebody that is just exclusively doing us and nothing else. I do think that marketing channels go through phases. So, I mean, I've been around long enough to know that, you go back, 10, 15 years, maybe more than I would prefer to think it is anyway.
Yeah.
Their mailboxes were full. I mean, we heard the same conversation about mailboxes, like direct mail isn't working. I mean, that's where the term junk mail came from. You went home to your mailbox and, it was full with catalogs and publisher clearinghouse and, solicitations from anybody that you've bought anything from in the last, 5 years. And it became less effective. I think to a certain extent, I mean, anybody that gets 50 emails a day knows that you can't absorb all that information. The digital space is getting crowded, and the direct mail space is not as crowded as it used to be because of this run to digital. So I think that's where the personal aspect of people receiving a card has become more desirable today in this digital world than it was when direct mail was, being, just massively sent out.
Yeah. And that makes a whole lot of sense. And I know you're pretty honest with businesses on whether or not this strategy will work for them and their unique customer profile. So what makes for a good fit for this program?
Well, I mean, first of all, they've got to have some web traffic. So, typically they're getting that web traffic because they're involved in other channels that have brought some brand recognition and inspired people to visit their website. So we're typically looking for a business that is generating 300, 400 web visits per month. Out of those 300 to 400 web visitors, we should be able to match somewhere between 20 and 40% of those folks. And the thing that we haven't really discussed is, in addition to the emails and the cards that we sent out to those matched people, we also provide the data to our customers. So you've got that data to incorporate into whatever marketing program you want to use that for in the future.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that it's a trust building exercise as well. So what are some key elements of a successful, tangible retargeting campaign, particularly for wellness practitioners like a chiropractor or med spa? Is it about the offer? Is it about the quality of the data that you're able to find? What makes it successful?
Well, we think that the data is quality because, I mean, it's really coming from you. It's based on the work that you've already done. You've done something right to get them to look at your website and consider you for whatever product or service you offer.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, too, I mean, if we're talking about print, an attractive, concise message is key. One of the things that we do to try to attract attention with our cards is we personalize the cards with the individual's first name. And what we believe that does, I mean, our attention spans are limited.
Goldfish. We're goldfish. Yes.
You got it. I mean, you've got seconds to capture somebody's attention.
Mm-hmm.
So by putting that first name on the card, that's an attention grabber. And what we think that does is we think that invites that consumer to engage further. Okay, let's look at a concise message on the front. I know what this product is. I've got an interest in this product. Let me turn it over and see what more they have to say. And a compelling offer, I mean, is the pushing over the edge. I mean, we think that cards that our clients are sending are a unique offer that they're bringing to their the prospects that we're mailing to. So that definitely plays a role.
And what metrics matter? I mean, is it just revenue in the door, or is there more to it than that?
I mean, I think when you're dealing with business owners, it doesn't always start this way, but I think ultimately it will come down to revenue in the door. I mean, if they're spending money on a campaign at some point in time, whether they're in love with the idea or not, they're going to want to see what the return on investment is. Mm-hmm. The added value that this program brings our customers is data. I mean, we're in a data-driven society. Mm-hmm. And if you can eliminate the weeds of, who you're trying to target with customers that have already been familiar with your brand and already interacted with your brand, it's just a much more focused effort.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like what you do really enhances the customer experience. Like if we're talking about it from our customer's point of view compared to traditional digital marketing methods, do you think that's true? I mean, what do your clients feel about that?
Well, I mean, I do think it's true. I mean, generally when I get solicitations that are for a product or service that I've never demonstrated an interest in, I don't pay much attention to it. Mm-hmm. When I'm going to pay attention to a marketing campaign, it's going to be when I've been researching something and I get a follow-up, and I'm going to want to see, are they offering me something different? Are they offering me something better? Is there savings that I can get? Because I'm interested in this product. So now that you're sending me more information about what you do, am I able to get a better deal? Or is there a service that you offer that I was unaware of? I'm going to spend more time with that piece than something that I get unsolicited.
How do you make sure that these direct mail pieces that you're mailing, they really resonates with recipients? Just like you were saying, you're going to interact with that piece more because you already had an interest. But how do you drive them to take action? How do you get them to book that appointment or visit the location?
Well, I think ultimately, it's about the audience that you're targeting, which we've already established. We believe that it's a good qualified audience. And then after that, I mean, they've got to feel like they're getting something exclusive, something that they're getting specifically through this email, card, whatever media we're using to interact with them. An exclusive offer is an important engaging aspect of it.
And I have a question about segmentation. How deep can you go? Are you only looking at the main URL, or are you looking at what pages this person visited? Can we segment by the product or service that they looked at on the website and then send them something that's specific to that product or service?
No, we can segment. Basically, when we go on to set up a campaign, we're adding a tracking pixel. We're not. We're having your web service add a tracking pixel to your website, right? So we can use that, and generally that pixel goes on every page of your site. We can use that information or that pixel to either include or exclude them from, being a match or receiving an email or a card. So, for example, we've got an HVAC company that does HVAC and plumbing and a whole litany of service that use this program. And they only want to focus on generators and new units. They're not interested in promoting people that visit the service side of things. They're not interested in promoting to people that visit the plumbing side of things. So it can be very specific. And we can also put criteria in that says, okay, they've got to stay on the page or the website for a certain number of minutes, and they've got to visit multiple pages before they're even included. So if they go in and bounce right away, they're not matched.
Which makes sense. Why waste our money mailing to them if they bounce straight away? But this is all fascinating. I love that you can segment by service. I've got to take another quick break. We'll be right back after this. Hey, Salt Nation, you're listening to the Worth Your Salt podcast. I'm Jennifer Oraquat, and today I'm talking with Brent Nygaard about how to convert virtual website visits into tangible interactions. We'd love to hear your thoughts on using direct mail in health and wellness, so be sure to join Salt Marketing over on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, and let us know how you're engaging online visitors. So, Brent, we talked about turning online visitors into loyal in-person customers, but it begs the larger question, where does direct mail fit into the future of marketing?
Well, I think direct mail's been around forever. And the demise of direct mail has been around for almost as long. I mean, the prospective demise of direct mail. But it keeps on bouncing back. Like I said before, I think everything is cyclical, and you adjust to accommodate for what's cyclical. But I don't think direct mail is going anywhere. It's more specific and more targeted.
Yeah, and that level of sophistication is really fascinating. I think there are a lot of practitioners, though, who do everything virtually, telehealth, virtual yoga. Do you think there's value in mailing something that's designed to get people to take action online, like a postcard with a QR code, or is it really just effective at getting people to come into a location?
Yeah, I think QR codes are a huge aspect of the possibilities of direct mail. So we have a lot of clients that are using QR codes to link to videos. So if you've got a product or service that maybe requires a little bit of education, a fun little video that we link on the card with a QR code, practitioner explaining what they do and how they do it or what makes them different, adds a lot of personalization that is really appreciated by the consumer. Imagine getting a birthday card with a QR code with a message from the chef, happy birthday, inviting them to come in and celebrate at their restaurant. Here's a $10 gift certificate. And then it immediately links to the page where you can book a reservation.
Very cool. So I'm going to kind of address the elephant in the room here. Do you think that this contributes to building trust and loyalty among potential clients? Or have you ever had pushback and somebody saying, that's a little too big brother creepy, you're finding this data on my clients? How does that sit with a lot of people?
You do hear that. Consumers occasionally will want to know from our customers, how they got the information, that type of thing. But it's surprisingly few. I've never measured it as a percentage, but the number of times that we have to deal with it from our clients is very, very minimal. So there certainly is that. There certainly is a paranoia that exists out there. It's real. We've all experienced going onto a website and investigating something, and our Facebook feed then is flooded with advertisements. And even more freaky is you could be talking to somebody about something, and then all that information starts to come up through your different feeds and your different digital options. Yeah,
we even had that conversation this morning where they just said painter into their phone, and they all of a sudden had painters all through their feed. So I once had a pair of shoes that chased me around for about 2 months. So I think we're all kind of used to that. We're kind of conditioned to it at this point. So how does celebration marketing stay ahead of the curve as far as adapting to changes in consumer behavior and these technological advancements? Are there any new advancements or strategies that have really moved the needle for your clients?
Well, this is the new strategy. This is fairly young for us. So there are companies out there that do retargeting. the identification of who's visiting your website is not something new, but marrying it with direct mail really is.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those companies that do that are not providing the data ultimately. They're providing an email service or something like that, but the consumer never gets the data. The big difference with us is we provide the data. And really, I do think that ultimately is the most valuable information that our clients can receive.
Yeah, and that speaks to scalability. I mean, can these mailers work for wellness businesses who are looking to expand their reach into new areas if they're locally, they're sort of saturated locally? Can this help you expand?
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, it'll certainly it'll immediately tell you if there's, based on the traffic that you're receiving. I mean, is there even a demand for your services in that area? Are you receiving traffic from that area? So it can help you make decisions like that. Should we go into this area? I mean, does it make sense? We're getting enough interest that maybe having a satellite location makes sense.
Fascinating. Like you could use it for market research and all those sorts of good things. All right. So if we want to get started or to even just learn more about celebration marketing and what you do, where can we go?
You can go to our website, celebrationmarketing.us. You can also call me, 843-779-2285.
Okay. And of course, links to Brent's website, as well as all the ways that you can connect with him, will be available on our website at saltmarketing.co. But right now, Brent, it is time for our lightning round questions. These are a few quick questions that I like to ask of every guest. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. First question is, what's something about you that often surprises people?
This doesn't, I guess, necessarily resonate because we're not doing a video here, but the fact that I have a 35-year-old daughter and 3 grandchildren is something that most people aren't expecting.
I'm sure they'll see your profile picture on our graphics. So,
Yeah.
All right, next question. What is your favorite thing about the work that you do?
I love feeling like I'm part of the team with my customers. I love, reviewing the results of what we're doing and feel like we're part of helping them grow.
Very nice. So what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Nothing good ever happens fast. It takes work, time, and patience to build success.
That is good advice. All right. Last question. Who's inspiring you right now? What podcast are you listening to? Or what's the best book you've read recently?
My hobby is I keep saltwater reef aquariums.
Okay.
That's something that I do. So I spent an hour and a half while I was at the gym this morning listening to a podcast about the benefits of ammonia nitrate in the nutrition of corals.
Very good.
So I read a book called Embrace the Suck. It's by a former Navy. Have you heard of it? Navy SEAL. Just about challenges, commitment, and control. I always, anything that a Navy SEAL writes, I kind of enjoy. So I grab that stuff up.
Very good. I like that. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Worth Your Salt, Brent.
Yeah, it was really fun. Thanks for asking me, Jennifer.
I also want to thank Salt Nation out there for your continued support of our podcast and let you know that if you have a great success story and you'd like to be a guest, tell us about why you're worth your salt by emailing us at grow@saltmarketing.co. Be sure to subscribe on our website so you never miss an episode. Finally, leave us a review or give the show a handful of stars wherever you get your content. That's all for this episode of Worth Your Salt. Be sure to join me again next time. In the meantime, let's get out there and shake things up.